Hey, what's going on, people? How you guys doing, man? Hopefully everything's going good. Here to talk about Money in the Bank, and I'm going to give you a quick review. I know it's very late because today's Wednesday, and I should have at least yesterday after Raw, but I'm going to follow up with the Raw review as well eventually later. So, what I want to talk about is the Money in the Bank match. Usos versus Shield is what I'm going to first talk about. I think Money in the Bank was actually a good pay-per-view. Continues its consistency of greatness, except some matches that they kind of fell short. But other than that, it was great. So what I really came to talk about is the Usos versus the Shield. Sorry if I'm fumbling with words, but that's where the cookie crumbled. But other than that, the match was good. The Shield versus the Usos, despite them losing, but there were some parts in the match where it looked like the Usos were going to win, surprise everybody, but it turned out that wasn't the case, so that's kind of where the cookie crumbles, but for the most part. So, where it looks like is now is, look like the Usos did put on a great show. They look very impressive. They talked about how they're jobbers, are not taken seriously, but they're great entertainers, great high flyers. When they were on NXT, when they were on NXT, what's that other show? Superstars, Saturday Morning Slam. They just really excel very well. So they're still very excelling, very compelling, and they see some rise. But if they can stop being jobbers, I bet other people in the world industry or other fans can take them even more seriously. That's what I'm thinking they need to go. So I think it's time for the Usos to continue their rise in a new direction. So, yep, that's kind of where the cookie crumbles. So, yep, that's what I got to say to that. But other than that, I'm thinking, the Shield did put on a great victory. It's great to see them continue their momentum. So I really want to see more of the title run. So that's where I got to go to that. So, yep. So I want to see more of what the Shield's going at, but I'm going to talk more about that in the next video. So yeah, to say that. So the Shield actually did great. I love how they excelled very well. So that's quite it. Sorry if it's too long. Next match, the opening Money in the Bank, where they transitioned to the Money in the Bank. The transition to the show where they have Fandango getting in the ring, and they all cut and goes to the usual WWE opening video and the kind of theme song somewhat, but yep, for the most part, went to that. So Fandango was also in the ring. Dean Ambrose celebrates with the Shield after he gets ready for his Money in the Bank, and then the rest of the guys in the Money in the Bank, Barrett, the Real Americans, and Rose Scholars get in as well. I gotta say the match was good. This is my first time ordering a pay-per-view, and I am excited to get some good quality TV. I hooked up the computer to the HDMI, and I got some stream because I don't have cable, so I order on www.com, and man, I got some great stream. Well, I'll wait till the end, but other than that, I'm still able to finish watching the show other than that. But hey, it's all good, so that's what I gotta say to that. So yep, the match was great. Damien Sandow actually put on a great show. Cody Rhodes did put on a great show. He did steal the show, I agree. Fandango did get some great moves in there, and then Wade Barrett had great parts in there. Dean Ambrose as well. So I think the match was very climatic, and we didn't know who was gonna win. We had no idea who was gonna win. I thought neither the Real Americans or the Rose Scholars kind of won, but there were some parts where the Real Americans were working as a team, and Rose Scholars, and I thought Jack Swagger was gonna electric chair drop Cesaro, but it turned out that wasn't the case. So that's what I gotta say to that. But yeah, other than that, it's like, Cody Rhodes did steal the show, so he does have a great rise to his career for the most part. So that's what I gotta say to that. So, basically what happened was, yep, so that's where it goes. So basically towards the end, Cody Rhodes was about to get his rise to the top, and I was hoping, man, is Davey Sandow gonna come? And I had a feeling that was gonna happen. Davey Sandow was gonna somewhat push Cody Rhodes down, and then steal the Money in the Bank for the victory. And I thought, it was great. They say it was very controversial, and JBL was like, come on, it's every man for himself. The commentators actually did great in the match, especially towards the end. Like, JBL, I love JBL. He has that blunt commentator personality, and he's like, he's very direct. So that's what I gotta say to that. Yeah, but on the other note, yeah, that's what I got to say to that. And I thought it was awesome. So I'm just glad to see a great Money in the Bank, especially with David Sandow nailing the surprising ending. I can't wait to see where he's going to go with this Money in the Bank, but hopefully if they could repackage his character from what I heard, because I keep hearing, oh, this is a kind of cartoonish gimmick. But, yeah, so, yeah, because he does have that great main event potential, but if they play a repackage his character, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there for the most part. Because Kennedy was Money in the Bank, but had to drop it to Edge because of his injury, so, but he was released, so that's what I got to say for the most part. But yeah, I was hoping to, but I'll talk more about that. But it was kind of surprising David Sandow did stole the moment from Cody Rhodes and won Money in the Bank, so that's what I got to say to that. So thought that was great. Next match was AJ versus Kaitlyn, Divas Championship match. I gotta say, the match did have some great build-up. Like I said on SmackDown, the build-up was great, even though it hasn't been talked about really by anyone. Only certain fans, and the fans kind of, I don't know, I just felt it was a limited amount of fans who saw SmackDown and saw the build-up with AJ and Kaitlyn contract signing, and surprisingly, that wasn't even noticed. So that's what I gotta say to that. So other than that, we had some great TV. Some great match with AJ and Kaitlyn. They actually had some good crowd reaction, and wow, I'm like, the crowd is finally getting into the Divas, and they actually really they're like really starting to excel with this. So for AJ to nail a great finish move, the Black Widow, I actually like how it just looks more deadly and deadly. That's what I gotta say to that. It's like looking more legit, because before when she did it to Natalia, it looked kind of like Natalia could reverse it, but she still sold it anyway, so I think that's the direction it went. So, yeah, practically so. But other than that, the Black Widow was a great threatening move. And man, I was like really convinced to see AJ's finishing move continuing to progress and made it look more deadly, especially to see Kaitlyn tapped out, which I was hoping she'd break out of it and, they get some false finishes in there like they did of the Payback, but that's where the Payback was great. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's where they kind of that's where the Money in the Bank, the match kind of fell short. So because they wouldn't have some false finishing moves or potential finishing build up, it gets reversed. So I'm thinking that's where the problem hit. I think that's where it kind of fell short. So a little disappointment, but other than that, it was slightly good. Next match we had was Chris Jericho versus Ryback. Well, Ryback. Cryback a river. So, sorry for that. So, Chris Jericho versus Ryback, it was okay. Ryback did have some power moves where he was nailing out Chris Jericho and really looking strong, so, but there were some parts where Chris Jericho had a momentum. He practically did have quite control of the match. And noticing that, I was kind of off and on paying attention, but yeah, I did notice how Chris Jericho was having build-up, and toward the end, I got really into it. And I thought, is Chris Jericho going to beat Ryback? And, this will go downhill. But for Ryback to win, all I can say is at least he won. No matter how he won, at least he won. And I'm going to have to digress here, but for him on the Falling Out on Raw, for him to just appear with the rest of the superstars, he didn't really get any build-up, so it's kind of disappointing. I really want to see his finishing move, which I actually did like. I did like him when he was the huge rising star last year in 2012, but I was over 220 pounds before joining the wrestling team. But I don't know if I have a previous video of me last year, but that's kind of off topic. I digress. Ryback, had a very shocking finishing move, and it was a very popular one too. Whether storyline reaction of him being a heel or real life where the fans of Ryback even having higher expectations of this guy, the expectations was really, the end of the expectations was didn't really meet my expectations to see how he won. He didn't nail out Chris Jericho and prove he's not a Ryback, especially with an injured knee. He nailed Miz out on SmackDown with his finishing move, and for him not to do it on Chris Jericho, I'm like, where are they going with this? It's for him to nail all these powerbomb moves and then for him to arm drag really lacked build up. It was very untransitional. it wasn't very greatly transitional at all. And sorry to talk long about this, but yeah, so practically to that, it was a great disappointment, just to say the least. So, yep, that's all I gotta say to that. So, Ryback vs. Jericho was, at least he won. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say those 4 words, no matter how much it hurts to say, or no matter how much it is bland to say. Next match, we have Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler for the world title. The stream kept cutting off, so it was kind of disappointing. But I did see some part of the match where Dolph Ziggler I did see him go outside by himself. So I was like, where did AJ come from? And then I heard and then I noticed like AJ walked out into the match, and then she was ringside. And then for her to get involved was kind of like, the match was great, but the ending was kind of good. So see AJ cost Dolph Ziggler the match, which I knew was going to happen, which I kind of had a feeling it was going to expect, especially the breakup. Like, it kind of looked too apparent that the breakup is going to happen, and it's like looking way too obvious. Like, it's just kind of the same tension with AJ, Daniel Bryan, which, like, is AJ going to stand up for herself or whatnot? But no, AJ just, loyalty stayed by his side. But, I think this was another direction for this one, especially to see the breakup is going to happen, or Dolph Ziggler keeping her from ringside or whatnot. But I have to say, it's a slight disappointment, because I gotta say it was slightly different, unique. I don't know, in a good or bad way, because for AJ to get involved and nail Alberto Del Rio with her Divas title belt, it looked like they're going somewhere with this, and that's what I gotta say to that. So practically just so I gotta say kudos to AJ getting involved in building her heel character, and Dolph Ziggler, continuing to rise, but, yeah, and to Dolph Ziggler to putting on a great show, but for AJ to get involved, she was Dolph Ziggler's girlfriend, so I don't think it was very painful for her to get involved into the match, but other than that, it kind of looked like they were going in an obvious direction to see how the match ended, but it's kind of predictable for me, because it looked like the AJ's going to cost the match, because I keep hearing all tensions going to happen to the breakup, which it's a pretty disappointment to me, because I thought they were going to continue to remain as an alliance because they used to have a face diva versus a heel superstar, so I was hoping to face superstar with the heel diva, but it seems like that's not the case, and people say it's going to be a similar ending to how Zack Ryder was dumped by Eve at WrestleMania 2012, which was 27, I think. Yeah, no, 28. And I thought they're gonna go a similar route to this one, or going a whole different route to this one. So great match, but I'm hoping for a rematch. But I don't know if that's gonna happen, which I am gonna talk about eventually later that night. But everyone did saw Raw, which they showed a potential Dolph Ziggler and Big E feud, which I think may happen. So that's what I gotta say to that. So I'm about to come back with my 2 other big matches in the main event, so yeah, catch you guys in a second.